The sea has a heartbeat, a rhythm you learn to feel in your bones. For me, growing up on the small island of Maringkik in East Lombok, that rhythm was the pull of a fishing line and the thrill of the hunt. My father took me out on the water when I was just 11 years old. The boat, small and wooden, seemed to shrink against the vastness of the ocean. The first time we went for sharks, I was filled with a primal fear. These creatures were magnificent, powerful, bigger than our vessel. But my father's voice was steady.
We do this for our family, son.
His hands firm on the nets. This is our livelihood. The sea will provide. I learned to push that fear down, to transform it into focus. The sea was not a place of leisure. It was our office. I became one of the best. It was a brutal, demanding craft, but it brought a sense of pride and respect. On a good trip, I could land as many as 150 sharks. The money was significant, sometimes around $1,200 a month, a fortune in our world. That income meant food on the table, repairs for our home, a sense of security. We were hunters, providers. We knew the currents, the seasons, the hidden places where the great predators roamed. The work was etched into my hands, calloused and scarred from hauling heavy, thrashing lines for hours on end. We would hit the shark's head with clubs until it was still, a violent, necessary act to bring home the prize. It was just the way things were. The danger was a constant companion, a shadow that followed our boat across the waves. We were not just fishermen, we were survivors. A powerful shark, hooked on a line, could drag a man overboard into the deep, a terrifying struggle for life against a creature in its own element. Storms would rise without warning, turning the calm expanse into a churning monster that threatened to swallow us whole. We'd bail water frantically as waves crashed over the sides, our hearts pounding with a mixture of terror and adrenaline. But we always went back out. The needs of our families on the shore were a stronger force than the fear of the open water. This was the life we knew, the only path we could see. The market was our final destination, the place where our struggle was converted into currency. The sight of our catch laid out was a testament to our skill and courage. The fins, highly prized in distant markets, were the primary source of the income that sustained our entire community. We didn't think much about the sharks themselves, not beyond their size and their fight. They were a resource, a commodity provided by the endless generosity of the ocean. I thought this cycle would continue forever. I was young, strong, and the sea was my kingdom. I believed the sharks were infinite, that the ocean's bounty could never run dry. Years of this life began to carve a new story, not just on my hands, but in the ocean itself. The rhythm I had known since childhood started to change, its beat becoming fainter, more erratic. The once dependable hunting grounds near our island grew quiet. The sharks were becoming harder to find. Where we once cast our lines a short journey from home, we now had to venture farther and farther into the open ocean, chasing ghosts. The trips became longer, the fuel costs higher, the returns more uncertain. The sea, which had always felt so generous, was beginning to feel stingy, holding its treasures closer to its chest. The easy abundance was gone. The competition grew fierce. It felt like we were all dipping our cups into a well that was slowly running dry. The camaraderie among fishermen was strained by a quiet desperation. We saw the same tired, worried faces at the market, holding up smaller and smaller catches. We spoke of the old days when the sharks were plentiful. The work, while still hard, was at least rewarding. Now, the effort was monumental. The outcome was a gamble. We were working harder than ever, for less and less. The physical toll intensified. The longer journeys meant more time exposed to the unpredictable wrath of the sea. The storms felt more menacing, the waves more threatening when you were days from land. My body, once fueled by youthful energy, began to ache with a deep, persistent weariness. The salt, the sun, they weathered my skin, and the constant strain of the lines made my muscles cry out. There were mornings I would wake and dread heading back into that vast, increasingly empty expanse, but there was no other choice. the families were still waiting. This slow, creeping change planted a seed of doubt. For the first time, I questioned our future. If the sharks were disappearing now, what would be left for our children? Would they have to risk even more for even less? The pride I once felt was slowly replaced by a gnawing anxiety. The sea was sending a clear message, a quiet warning that we were taking too much. The foundation of our existence was cracking. I could feel the tremors. We were standing on a precipice, staring into a future where the hunter might have nothing left to hunt. Into this world of uncertainty walked a complete anomaly. Her name was Madison Stewart, but we came to know her as Pip. She was a young woman from Australia, a conservationist, a diver, and she was passionate about the very creatures we hunted for a living. The first time we saw her, a Caucasian on our remote island, it was a shock. We watched her with suspicion. Who was this outsider, and what did she want here? She carried cameras and a fierce love for sharks, an animal we saw only as a product. Her world and ours were separated by a gulf of understanding. I saw her taking photos and videos of the sharks we brought to market. I confronted her. "Pip, you need to stay away from my sharks. Don't cover them, don't take photos, and don't make videos." I saw her as a threat, someone who wanted to judge us and take away our livelihood. When you actually take the time to befriend the people you see as the enemy, that's when real magic can happen. Instead of arguing or condemning, Pip listened. By showing us basic human respect, she disarmed our hostility and opened a door to dialogue. One day, Pip sat down with me, not as a conservationist but as one person to another. The noise of the village faded.
She looked at me and asked, "Which would you prefer, Odie? Do you want to continue being a fisherman or switch to tourism?"
The question hung in the air. It wasn't an ultimatum. It was an invitation to imagine a different future. It forced me to look beyond catching the next shark, to think about the long-term survival of my family and community. I thought about shrinking shark populations, the growing danger, my children, and the life I wanted for them. The sea had been my father's life, and it was mine. But did it have to be theirs? Did I want them to face the same storms, the same risks, the same uncertainty? Or could there be a better way? Tourism. The word sounded foreign. We were hunters, not hosts. But the idea took root. Maybe tourism could be a safer option. We weighed the big, rare jackpot of a catch against a smaller, steadier, more reliable income. An income that didn't depend on killing the thing tourists come to see. A live shark as recurring revenue. This was the turning point. The decision required a leap of faith. We had to trust Pip. We traded the brutal certainty of the hunt for the unknown potential of a new enterprise. We took that first step away from the hook, toward a different kind of connection with the sea. With the decision made, the real work began. We needed a name, a structure, an identity. We called it Project Hiu, our local word for shark, reclaiming it as a banner for a new beginning. The concept was straightforward. Hire the shark fishermen and their boats, not to hunt, but to guide. We would take tourists out to see Lombok's rich marine life, to witness sharks swimming freely in their habitat. We diverted our resources, our boats and our skills toward conservation-based tourism, unlearning and relearning, hospitality, safety, and sharing ocean knowledge in new ways. Instead of teaching how to land a shark, we taught how to spot and appreciate one, without a hook in its mouth. The very men once most prolific in the hunt became pioneers of ecotourism. For Project Hiu to succeed, it had to be a viable alternative. The ecotours brought steady revenue, less peak, more reliable, far safer. 7 years after that first conversation, the impact was undeniable. It grew from an idea into a functioning enterprise, an unthinkable alliance turned powerful force for change, an arc of sorts, saving sharks and carrying our community toward a sustainable future. We were proving that the lives of people and wildlife did not have to be in conflict. The impact of Project Hiu spread beyond fishermen and boats, ripples across the village. We had long bought water from Lombok and hauled it by boat. Costly, draining. Project Hiu helped build a tank to collect and filter rainwater, clean water, sustainable, free. Health improved, money freed for essentials. Education became our cornerstone. We did not want our children to fish the old, dangerous way. A scholarship program opened doors once out of reach. Children could dream of being teachers, engineers, marine biologists, from survival to advancement, from recipients of aid to partners in progress. Fishermen became respected guides, community leaders, custodians of the sea. Tourists needed meals, places to stay, local crafts. Small businesses bloomed, many run by women and families. Tourism money flowed through the whole village. More people now had a stake in healthy sharks and ecosystems. Conservation became shared interest. The living shark became a cornerstone of our prosperity. The deepest change happened within us. I remember the long line biting my palms, raw, sometimes bloody. "Look at this hand," I once said. Now, Odie is not fishing sharks. My hand is so clear. The smoothness is a quiet testament to a life without the violence of the hunt. The fear receded. Our decks shifted from high-stakes tension to educational adventure and shared wonder. We no longer saw sharks as adversaries or commodities, but as magnificent, intelligent creatures. We learned their markings and behaviors. Their value changed. Our pride became the awe in a visitor's eyes as a tiger shark glided beneath the boat. We became storytellers. Our journeys from hunter to protector moved people more than any paper could. It wasn't imposed policy. It was our choice, our new identity. My journey from the hook to hope became our community's story. I smile thinking about it. Our new relationship with the ocean opened a partnership with science. Who knew sharks better than those who hunted them? We became eyes and ears on the water. Tourism work grew into scientific discovery. We learned shark tagging, carefully attaching satellite tags to fins to track movements. Those tracks inform conservation. It required expert boat handling and deep behavior insight to keep stress low and safety high. Our crews were perfectly suited. We worked as equals. A landmark. 2 tiger sharks. First in Indonesia. Pride washed over us. We contributed to global knowledge, unlocking predator mysteries. Data-guided policy to protect sharks far beyond our island. We became research assistants, field technicians, conservation partners. The value of a living shark was undeniable. Apex predators keep oceans healthy. Without ideas like this, and collaboration, sharks could face extinction. We were on the front lines preventing that. Honestly, it felt like a new role. Our path wasn't straight. It ran through challenging currents and hidden reefs. Tourism is steadier but seasonal, vulnerable to global shocks. In lean times, the old ways tempt. Some still fish sharks. A generation's dependencies don't unravel overnight. Constant effort is needed. We are one piece of a larger puzzle. We created local sanctuary, but intensive shark fishing continues elsewhere. Sharks are migratory. Beyond our waters, they meet others' hooks. It can feel like filling a bucket with a hole. True success needs stronger laws, better enforcement, replication in other communities. Pollution and climate change threaten everything. Bleaching, plastics, warming waters. We expanded our fight. Waste management, reef protection, because the system is interconnected. Obstacles taught resilience, innovation, commitment. These wins fuel us to keep pushing, make our model sustainable and share our story of hope. We know the work is far from over, but turning back is not an option. We're in this for the long haul. Today, as I stand on the shore of my island, I see a different future than I once imagined. Not empty oceans and fading memories, but thriving marine life and empowered communities. Our story proves conservation and livelihood need not be opposites. Built on trust, respect, and a shared vision, needs first, then bigger goals. Our greatest hope lies in our children. Scholarships, new mindsets, different perspectives. They see the ocean to study, to guide, to protect. They learn marine biology, sustainable tourism, conservation science, choices we never had. Our island became a case study. We share with villages, scientists, policymakers, support the people by the sea, and they become its strongest guardians. Provide fair, dignified work, and people will protect the living shark over the dead one. This is Project Hiu's message. A blueprint to turn conflict into collaboration. The ocean is vast, but change begins with a single step, a single boat, a single village. My hands are smoother now, and my heart is lighter. I still go to sea every day, my purpose rewritten. I am no longer a hunter taking from the ocean. I am a guide, a teacher, a protector giving back. We go out not with hooks, but with hope to show the beauty of a living shark and help secure a future where both sharks and people prosper.